2 o'clock in the morning. I did crash really hard around 7. I managed to finish making my spaghetti, but I didn't eat it. I'm gonna get back to what I was doing. Um, like, no gap. It is a new day now. Um, Even though it's only about 6.5 hours worth of sleep. So, I'll have to make sure that I get enough sleep. Um, I want a long day tomorrow. Sorry, a long day today, so that I transfer over and I do an all-nighter on Thursday. So I want to wake up late on Thursday afternoon. That's what I have to kind of plan around. Meaning that I want to be awake until Thursday morning or Thursday afternoon. So let's get back to what I'm doing, which is just bureaucracy and cleaning. This is not going to be an exciting day. So, Pretty Boy Josh here has the audacity to argue that Obama's energy policy has been a massive success in reducing emissions. It's like parallel reality type stuff, right? He's essentially arguing that because they allowed fracking and in fact aggressively pursued fracking, it follows that the emissions have decreased. So fracking reduces emissions? It's a funny argument there. I mean, outside of the reality that you're burning it afterwards, there's that whole methane thing. Yeah. In fact, and what I'm going to say right now is something that everybody who's ever looked into it is going to agree. Nobody really seriously disputes this, okay? You hear it on the right, you hear it on the left. Why did emissions go down under Obama? Due to a combination of the recession that he inherited and the offshoring plans that have been building up over the last several decades. And what's happened essentially is that the pollution that was once made in the United States or once emitted in the United States has, gone down a little bit, but it's merely been exported. And it's been exported to Mexico and it's been exported to China. Global emission rates continue to fly all over the place. And then Obama, I don't know, my history's where my timing's a little messy, right? So I don't really know if this happened before or after what I'm watching. But then the president has the nerve, right? The audacity to stand up there and blame it on China. Blame all of the exceeding emissions problems that we're having, and blame everything on the emissions that are coming out of China, right? When what's happening is that we're exporting all our pollution there. Well, not we. We're actually, energy is something where Canada and the States are on drastically different, in drastically different places. So it is true that there has been a small decrease in emissions under the Obama presidency. But those emissions, and like I say, everybody who studied this agrees with this, right or left. These emissions have come down as a combination of one, job losses, right? So I mean, if you reduce production, then yeah, you're going to reduce emissions as well. So we've got job losses, we have automation, right? Just you could put automation and technology together, right? Because that's just an increase in efficiency, right? And offshoring. And so there's no global decrease. What that means is that when you hear this argument that emissions have come down under Obama, they're essentially manipulating data to come to that conclusion. Because if you look at global emissions, they have not come down. And I mean, I don't know if anybody is, explicitly tracking. But we can see that the amount that's come down in the U.S. All of those companies have moved elsewhere, right? It's not like all these companies just evaporated. It's not like all this production just ceased. It got moved. More importantly, has he done anything? Well, I mean, it's not like the president can snap his fingers or clap his hands, right? But more importantly, has he done anything to switch over infrastructure? I think he's passed some laws regarding coal, but they're pretty toothless when you really look at them. I know he had tried initially to put some investment in a green company, but the he folded. He caved under pressure, right? Demonstrated that he was spineless on the issue. Folded. They blew on him and he fell apart. Which is disappointing because this is an important issue. This is the kind of issue where he should stand up and stand his ground and tell them, you want to stop me from doing this and you vote me out because this is important. But he hasn't done that. He's improved even more and more invasive procedures, fracking, offshore drilling. Remember when that was an election issue? So what's he done? Not much. Passed a couple of laws that will have minimal effect. The massive amount of investment that's required has not been coming. And he can blame the Congress on that, but I think it's disingenuous. And he's supported, all kinds of dirty ways to get more oil out of the ground. And the modest emissions reductions that he claims are understood by everybody, all economists, all environmentalists, as merely the export of emissions to the third world. And does he claim this is his legacy? It's a pretty sad legacy. Does Clinton want to distract from the issues after this barrage of accusations from Trump? Well, yeah, she does. This whole... You're hearing that a lot from the Trump campaign, this idea that Clinton is trying to get everybody to talk about something else besides the issues. And yeah, she does want to distract from the issues. And is it subverting democracy? Absolutely. But is it working? The numbers suggest that it is. So how can you blame her for a successful tactic? If you want democracy, that's up to you. You have to, you gotta sit there and complain that the candidates are subverting democracy. If you want one, then go get it. But the lesson to Republicans is that you should vet your candidates. This is your own fault. You can't sit there and run this absolute douchebag and then complain at the elections about how much of a piece of shit the guy is. But there's a level of hypocrisy, of course. As though Karl Rove never existed, right? And frankly, despite the media claim, Trump is hardly a populist. I'm going to make a claim. If Trump's policies were truly populist, it would overpower Clinton's distraction tactics. Would it not? The game she's playing only works when her opponent has no substance. I mean, the way you hear some Republicans talk about this, it's like they think the country wants to outlaw abortion and abolish Obamacare. And if it was only for the Clinton campaign, if it wasn't for the Clinton campaign distracting from, the popular will to outlaw abortion, those issues are not winners, okay? And the wall, right? If Clinton wasn't distracting from the wall, there'd be a movement to build a wall. They're terrible policies. I might even argue that it's a bad tactic for Republicans to try and get the coverage back on message. They're better off trying to win, these arguments about, they're better off trying to focus it on identity politics voting and see if they can get dudes to stop their wives from voting. It's a better tactic than trying to win on the issues. It's the problem with the Republican Party, guys. The problem with the Republican Party is not that they run, you know, assholes, although they do. It's not that the Democrats are better at, you know, these smear tactics. If anything, the Republicans are better at the smear tactics. The problem with the Republicans is their policies are terrible. And until the Republicans change their policies, they're going to stay out of office. That's how it is. Alright, so it's 20 after 4 in the afternoon already. What did I spend all day doing? I spent the first 4 or 5 hours watching some vlogs and, you know, messing around on the internet a little bit. And then I got something to eat, and then I spent the next, like, it's been like 6 hours? No, it's been like 8 hours. Yeah, I spent the next, like, 8 hours doing reciting, along with, some, you know, just messing around on the internet, but it was mostly reciting. I stopped for like a half an hour to eat a second time, so it's like I've been dealing with vlog related things all day pretty much. What can I what can I say that took longer than I wanted it to? That said, I actually do think that this is still a better system, um, even if I lose a day a week on it, I guess. No, I can't. I don't want to be doing it. That was too time consuming. No question. Um, could I have made it better? I don't know. I don't really. I got my laundry clothes on. I'm gonna do a couple of loads. I need to do some budgeting, plan for the show out. What I accomplished today with the vlogging things was I watched vlogs for the 5th, 6th, and 7th, and then uploaded them, and then recited 8, 9, 10, 11, meaning that I'm now caught up until I get back from Lansing. And now I need to get ready to plan to go to Lansing. So I wasn't really expecting much more to get done today, except I wanted to get some cleaning done. I'm only doing 2 loads of laundry, but I mean it's because I want to wait to do the sheets, and I want to wait to do the towels. I'll wait until I come back. Um, that's enough for now, kind of thing. And yeah, let's get to it. Like I said, I didn't really plan on doing anything today, anyways. So it's like I feel like I lost a day, but what did I lose the day to? Nothing, really. Listening to this is the latest attack is that Hillary Clinton is for open borders. Like what? What? The demagogues on the right really boggle my mind. Surely they realize that Hillary Clinton will carry on where the reporter-in-chief left off, and that she'll be far more vicious when she does it than Trump could ever be. So where are they going with this nonsense about open borders? And it is nonsense. This is the person that wanted to send children back to Central America to send their parents the message that they're not wanted. And they claim she wants open borders, right? What planet exactly is it that these people live on? It's one thing to sit down and have an honest debate. I would personally support a Schengen area type agreement. I want open borders, and I know that Clinton does not represent my views at all. But you can't have an honest debate with these people, okay? They throw out ridiculous strawman arguments. They have no interest in reality. In my view, the problem with NAFTA is that it doesn't go far enough in integration. I'm not naive. I know that's the point. That way corporations can hide behind the lax labor laws in Mexico. It's by design. I get it. But I don't want to just tear the thing up and go back to protectionism either. When we had this debate up here in Canada, the Liberal Party took what I think was the correct position. They supported the idea of free trade, but they opposed NAFTA. And they basically blamed the shittiness of NAFTA on Mulroney caving on everything imaginable to Reagan, and I think that history upholds the absolute correctness of his position. Here's a little bit of trivia that probably most people don't know. Why do we have NAFTA? Where did this come from? It was actually an idea that was initiated by the current Prime Minister's father, Pierre Trudeau. He set up something called the Macdonald Commission. Um, there was a cabinet minister, a fairly important person in Canadian history with the unfortunate name of Donald MacDonald. Yes, if your last name is MacDonald, do not name your child Donald, please, because then they have to walk around their whole lives being called Donald MacDonald. We don't even need to talk about the whole Ronald slant, okay? It's the redundancy, you know? You could really, or if you're gonna do it, just go full out and name your child McDonald so that they're called McDonald. There's no need, you know, to avoid the Mick. If you're gonna be Donald McDonald, just be McDonald. Stand up for it, you know. And like I said, we don't even need to go down this whole Ronald path. We can just ignore that. But his name was Donald MacDonald. He was, as I stated, a fairly important person in Canadian history. And there was a Macdonald Commission set up by Pierre Trudeau. He wanted to explore the options, and out of that came an agreement between Canada and the United States called the Free Trade Agreement, which was then expanded into NAFTA. That was entirely the mind. It came right from the Liberal Party. And then they were put in the bizarre position in the 1988 and 1993 elections of opposing the agreement that they created, because the Conservatives and Republicans just went out to lunch with it. They took what was initially meant to actually be like Trudeau's concept was that, like, Trudeau wanted a free trade agreement, an actual free trade agreement. And, you know, the corporatists in the Republican Party got a hold of it, essentially turned it into a protectionist treaty with all kinds of... We don't need to have another rant about NAFTA. We've had enough rants about NAFTA. But that is the right agreement. Mexico's another story, but at least if we're talking about just the United States and Canada, free trade's a good idea. We have roughly comparable everything. Really basically the same. You know, we're the liberal side, America's the conservative side, but it's the same bloody culture, right? Minor differences. Of course, the Quebecois might disagree, but broadly speaking. Like I say, Mexico is a different... It just doesn't have the same standard of living. I wish it did, but it doesn't, right? And so... But the initial idea of Canada and the United States, a free trade agreement, great idea. But that's not what we got. We got this crazy investor rights agreement, right? And so yeah, it would be nice to throw Chapter 11 in the trash, first of all, but realistically that's not going to happen right off the bat. What we can do more immediately is give workers back mobility rights, so that the corporations can't hide behind the borders anymore. Open borders sounds like a good idea to me. But Clinton represents the people that don't want open borders, that set up this agreement specifically so that there wouldn't be, so that they could hide behind the border and get preferential treatment in one area and then sell goods on the other side of it. No labor laws on one side of the border so that they could sell things on the other side of it. Clinton represents those people. They don't want open borders, guys. But if we do give workers back their mobility rights, then the wage differentials will start to break up, and meaningful concepts of comparative advantage will assert themselves. The race to the bottom will stop, not by putting up walls, but by tearing them down. Which is what, again, the idea behind NAFTA was meant to be, but not what it actually became. NAFTA is not an agreement to tear down borders. NAFTA is an agreement to make borders more enforced. We need to get into Mexico and organize the workforce, okay? We don't need to build walls that'll help management to continue to exploit workers. This is why they beat us, because they managed to convince workers that they were in competition with the Mexicans rather than in solidarity with them. Had workers on all sides of the border, you know, in the three countries, stood together in solidarity, none of this would have happened. But management managed to convince them that they were in competition with each other for jobs, and that's why we got this mess. We need cross-border unions. We need an auto union that combines workers in Mexico, the US, and Canada and stands up for common conditions and workers' rights. But NAFTA is there to prevent that. The border is there to prevent that. And for that reason, capital will never let the border fall outright. Okay? The reality is the current arrangement is the best possible one for capital because capital designed it that way. And no major party is going to disrupt it. To suggest that Clinton wants to get in the way of this is outrageously disingenuous. She's a corporatist. She doesn't want open borders. It's ridiculous. It's 6:30 at night. I've got one more load of laundry to put in to the dryer. So half a load left. And I'm done with all of the editing. Like totally at this point now. Or at least for a bit. I've got the stuff planned out for the vlogs that I'll have to do for after I come back. Next thing up to do is budgeting. I may actually eat a second time today, which would be strange, but I guess I skipped a few days. I knew this was going to be a floaty day, and that's the case. I just wish I would have got more done. I don't think I'm even going to start cleaning, to be honest with you. Well, I just bought my ticket, so I'm going. Yeah. I'm clear for the month, and it'll leave me an extra $100, and there's nothing really else that I want to do, besides maybe hit a couple local shows, so... the money's there. What else am I going to do with it? I might as well go, even though I'm throwing away money, but who cares, right? Like I said, what else am I going to do with it? So, that brings me to the end of the... Well, I mean, this took all day. I thought it'd be at this point by noon. And it's what? It's almost 9 o'clock. In fact, I'm going to get something to eat again. And that may be the end of the night. I'm going to be in bed earlier than I wanted to, I think, too. Yeah. I'm going to, I was thinking maybe I could do like an extra long day. Like wake up late on Thursday night and then pass it through till Saturday afternoon. But I'm thinking on second thought that I'm going to want to actually get a little bit of sleep on Thursday. Just a little bit. I'm going to want to make sure everything's ready to go for Friday. So that's going to be my main task for tomorrow, besides doing a little bit of cleaning in here. Yeah. I'm still undecided whether I want to push myself so that I wake up late on Thursday, or whether I actually want to go to sleep now so that when I come back on Thursday night I'm tired. Right? I think probably the worst thing that could happen would be for me to be like awake in the middle of the day tomorrow. So like wake up at like noon on Thursday, because then I've actually got to do 2 days, right? If I wake up at like 8 o'clock on Thursday night, then that's only, what, 36, well, no, it's 40 some hours. I know my limits. I start to get blurry around 40 some hours. But if I can get a couple hours with the sleep in, yeah. So I think I want to ensure that I don't drink too much on Thursday night, so that I'm home around 1 or 2. And then just like, I just wake up and go, right? Yeah. Because I gotta be at the 7-Eleven by noon, and on the bus at 2. So if I can sleep from like 2 to 8, or 2 to 10, it's actually quite a bit of sleep for me. Meaning maybe I do want to push myself a little bit. Yeah, if I have a longer day that ends on Thursday or Thursday night, Friday morning. Yeah. Can I push that long? I doubt it. I can force myself to sleep even. Yeah. No, this is important because the bus station's not open all night, and I'm gonna have to find a restaurant, and it's actually gonna be quite a bit of walking. I'm looking at about a half an hour walk to eat. And there are 24-hour restaurants, but they're not like in the vicinity of the bar. I'm gonna have to walk one way or the other. So I need to print off a map and all these kinds of things. Um, and I'm gonna get there at like 5ish. Shows at 7, so it's I mean 2 hours isn't too much, right? I'm gonna get a sandwich or something, I'll be fine. But I need to make sure I have money for the diner too, right? So lots of variables. I mean, I'm not. This is not. I'm certainly. I'm not even hitchhiking, right? I'm taking the bus. The reason I'm doing that is just because I'm not. I don't want to get pulled over by cops in the States, right? That's something that is concerning to me, especially considering the way cops are in the States. Well, they might shoot you. They see you on the side of the road hitchhiking, they might kill you, right? This is the reality of things. So, um, be careful of that. When I was just going up, I didn't even know if I was going to hitchhike to Ann Arbor, and it was like literally 5 minutes in a car, right? This is a 2-hour bus ride, so this is lengthy, right? Um, if I do this again, and I feel comfortable about it after I take a look around, I may hitch it. But I mean, I could have taken a shuttle bus from, I think it was the airport in Detroit to Ann Arbor, but the shuttle bus would have cost me like $30, and that struck me as ridiculous because it was down the road, I was in the area. That struck me as insane, right? But it's a different story if I'm going from Detroit to Lansing, which is a different city. It's not very far, but it is a different city, right? 30, 40 years from now, it might not be a different city, but it is now. And, you know, I actually went to check. I was thinking, if I'm going to take the bus and I'm converting, and that I'm paying to get over the border, how much would it cost to just go to Toronto, right? And they are playing in Toronto next week. It happens to be that they're playing in Toronto on the day I have a doctor's appointment, so I couldn't go anyways. But I checked the price, and it's like twice as much on the bus, right? So that's good to know. If I'm taking a bus, is it cheaper to go to Lansing or cheaper to go to Toronto? Definitely cheaper to go to Lansing. Um, it would be nice if they just fucking play Toronto. Sorry, if they just fucking play Detroit. Anyways, this is what's happening. It's all set in motion. I got the plans. I just need to finalize them. Yeah, just the time that we were talking, I seem to have woken up quite a bit because it's a little bit more clear what's going on. So, yeah. I think I'll probably fall asleep right after I eat. I'm getting that kind of feeling though. It's the only reason why I'm awake is that I'm hungry kind of feeling. Let's deal with that. Yeah, I wanted to double check it, and the truth is that Grand River is sidewalk a good ways of the way up. And you gotta wonder if that's something that I could do or not. But here's the thing. The distance that I hitchhiked last time was about 5 miles, which is about 8 kilometers. The distance that I would be hitchhiking this time is 70 miles, which is about 100 kilometers. It's actually more than 100 kilometers. For today, for right now, I feel better about taking the bus. I think maybe if I get to know the region a little bit better, I'll change my mind. But I'm not getting any younger, right? There's a certain point where it's the chances of getting picked up decrease dramatically. Right now, I got the cash. I might as well blow it. You know? But I mean, I did check, and it does seem like there's a sidewalk a good long ways up. If I could take the bus up to like Novi, if the bus was to extend just a little bit further out, I could probably do it. Right? But like I say, it's a big difference between hitchhiking, less than 10 kilometers, which you could walk if you had to, and trying to hitchhike 100 kilometers, which you can't walk, right? Like if I don't get picked up, I'm stuck, and I don't want that. So I get a bus ticket. I make that getting a bus ticket means I'm sure that I get there. That said, if I happen to sleep in, I might think about it.